Joe argues on the outlap, getting a taste of the tarmac. It's like sniffing the cork before a good wine. First impressions matter.
Exactly. They're assessing the grip, the balance, the whole shebang. You can learn a lot in these quiet moments before the throttle really opens up.
Sunoiler is not hanging about, straight into the thick of it on this first flying lap. They're getting a real taste of the WSC60 Nissan R380i's capabilities.
Absolutely. It's about understanding the limits early on. You'll see them experimenting with braking points and turn-in speeds, all while keeping an eye on those tire temps.
Now, here's a term some might not be familiar with: roll bar stiffness. Sounds technical, doesn't it?
It does, but in essence, it's about how the car reacts to lateral forces, especially during cornering. Adjusting the roll bar can change how the car behaves mid-corner. A softer setting can be more forgiving, but a stiffer one might give the driver a quicker response, albeit with less margin for error.
Sunoiler is really opening up the taps now, their first flyer of the session. This is where we start to see what WSC60 Nissan R382 has got under the hood.
That's right, Rob. They're shaking off the cobwebs and really starting to push. It's all about finding that sweet spot between speed and control on the circuit.
Eric, Wolfs is rolling out for the first sniff of the track. It's all about feeling the car, the tarmac, and getting the mind in the zone.
Absolutely, Rob. The out lap is like the opening chapter of a book. A Euro sets the tone for the whole story. They'll be checking how the car's responding, getting a real feel for the conditions today at Sebring 1966 ACF Enduro.
And away goes Sunoiler, charging down backstretch like a bull at a gate. This lap's where they set the tone for the session.
Indeed, Rob. It's about laying down a marker, seeing how the car responds when they dial everything up to 11. They're testing the waters, but also setting their own benchmarks.
And there's Joe Yu, easing out onto Sebring 1966 ACF Enduro. It's like the first step on a long hike, finding your footing before you hit full stride.
Right, and every racer knows this out lap is precious. It's their first handshake with the track today, feeling out its mood and temperament.
With just 177 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. And off goes Eric, Wolfs, easing into the rhythm of Sebring 1966 ACF Enduro. This lap is like the first sip of your morning coffee, waking up the sensors, priming the engines.
Yeah, it's about syncing up with the machine, getting that perfect harmony between driver and car. It's like a prelude to a symphony that's about to unfold on the track.
Joe Yu is out there, taking it slow and steady on the outlap. This lap is like the calm before the storm, a moment of zen before pushing the limits.
That's right, it's about understanding the track's personality today. A Euro. Each day, each lap can tell a different story, especially at a track like Sebring 1966 ACF Enduro.
Mate, these drivers aren't just burning rubber for the fun of it. They're chasing the ghost, that perfect lap that's always just out of reach.
Absolutely. Back in my racing days, I used to call it chasing the dragon. It's that feeling when you know there's still a little more in the tank, a fraction of a second to be found.
Joe Yu is on the outlap, not just warming up the tires but also warming up their instincts, getting that racer's intuition dialed in.
True that. They're getting the feel of the track, the car, the conditions. It's all about setting the stage for what's to come.
Alright, Sunoiler has put down a 301.712. It's a decent benchmark, but I reckon there's more juice to squeeze out of that WSC60 Nissan R382.
For sure, Rob, it's early days. They're just starting to sync up with the track. We'll likely see those times tumble as they dial in.
There's Lars, gently nudging the beast as they head out. The outlap is where you whisper to the car, "Let's dance," before the real party starts.
You got that right. It's a gentle waltz before the full-on rock concert of the race. They're testing the waters, getting a feel for every bend and straight of Sebring 1966 ACF Enduro.
Eric, Wolf's is in warehouse straight. Sunoiler has a best lap time of 3:01.409. Look at Eric, Wolf's go. They're really giving it some jandle now. The first flyer is always a bit of a reconnaissance mission, a mix of caution and raw pace.
You bet, Rob. They're mapping out the track, feeling out the grip levels, and getting a sense of how the car's performing today. It's a crucial lap for building confidence.
There goes Lars, on their first dance with Sebring 1966 ACF Enduro. Every bend, every straight is a chance to learn, to adapt.
Yep, and it's about syncing with the car too. Making sure everything's in harmony. It's like tuning an instrument before a big concert.
You ever think about what's ticking inside a driver's noggin during these laps?
All the time. It's a mix of analyzing, strategizing, and adapting. Every corner, every straight is a puzzle, and they're trying to solve it at full speed.
Mate, sometimes I reckon the pit wall looks like they're controlling a spaceship with all those dials and knobs.
You're not wrong. Each of those adjustments, from brake bias to differential settings, has a profound effect on car behavior. It's like tuning a guitar, but instead of strings, you're tweaking mechanical symphonies to get the car singing just right on the track.
Eric, Wolf's posted a 3:06.470 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? There's no mucking around for Joerg UA Euro, straight down to business on this first flyer. They'll be keen to see what times they can clock in early on.
Yeah, and it's not just about speed. It's about rhythm, finding that flow around Sebring 1966 ACF Enduro. Getting into that groove early can set the pace for the whole session.
Sunoiler posted 3:07.882 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? There's the first flying lap for Eric Wolfs, hitting 3:07.882. It's a start, but they'll be looking to iron out those kinks as they get more laps under their belt.
Right on, Rob. It's early in the session, so there's plenty of time to experiment and find those extra tenths of a second.
Sunoiler crosses the line with their first flyer, clocking a 4:37.358. They're getting to grips with Sebring 1966 ACF Enduro, feeling out its quirks and corners.
It's like the first round of a chess match, Rob. They're making their opening moves, setting up for the later, faster laps where they'll really show their hand.
Just 166 minutes left before we move to qualification. There is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. It's all about finding that sweet spot during these sessions. Like tuning a didgeridoo, but way faster.
Haha, and a lot noisier. But you're right. In Indy, we fine-tune until it feels just right. Every lap here is a step towards perfection.
You know, mate, watching these practice sessions, you'd think the driver just jumps in and goes. But there's a heck of a lot more to it. Starting with that aero package, the balance between drag and downforce.
Oh, for sure. You tweak the front wing just a smidge, and you could have a totally different beast on your hands. Depending on the track, they might want more downforce for those tight corners or reduce it for the long straights to maximize speed.
Watch as Lars takes it nice and easy on this outlap. It's not just about warming up the tires, it's about getting into that mental pit lane, tuning into the race mindset.
For sure, Rob, they're calibrating everything a Euro. The brakes, the steering, the throttle response. It's a crucial part of laying down the groundwork for a successful practice session.
Look at Wayne Pearson taking it nice and easy, a smart move. Like a chess player contemplating the opening move, they're planning several steps ahead.
Spot on. They're mentally mapping each corner, each straight. It's not just about the car, it's about strategy and foresight.
And off goes Lars, easing into the rhythm of Sebring 1966 ACF Enduro. This lap is like the first sip of your morning coffee, waking up the sensors, priming the engines.
Yeah, it's about syncing up with the machine, getting that perfect harmony between driver and car. It's like a prelude to a symphony that's about to unfold on the track.
And there's Richard Rossier, easing out onto Sebring 1966 ACF Enduro. It's like the first step on a long hike, finding your footing before you hit full stride.
Right, and every racer knows this out lap is precious. It's their first handshake with the track today, feeling out its mood and temperament.
Superman's on the outlap, getting a taste of the tarmac. It's like sniffing the cork before a good wine. First impressions matter.
Exactly. They're assessing the grip, the balance, the whole shebang. You can learn a lot in these quiet moments before the throttle really opens up.
Lars is on the outlap, not just warming up the tires but also warming up their instincts, getting that racer's intuition dialed in.
True that. They're getting the feel of the track, the car, the conditions. It's all about setting the stage for what's to come.
In these sessions, they're not just pushing the car's limits, but their own too. Testing their mettle, seeing how far they can go before the big dance.
Exactly. It's a mental game as much as a physical one. Balancing aggression with precision, daring with data. It's an art and a science.
Hey Hal, you reckon these drivers ever get tired of going round and round during practice?
Well, Rob, repetition is the key. Every lap gives you data, insights, and an edge over the competition.
There goes Wayne Pearson, on their first dance with Sebring 1966 ACF Enduro. Every bend, every straight is a chance to learn, to adapt.
Yep, and it's about syncing with the car too. Making sure everything's in harmony. It's like tuning an instrument before a big concert.
Megasaurus 55's first flyer is a solid start, clocking in at 302.832. They're getting a feel for the track, but there's room to shave off a few more seconds.
Absolutely, Rob. It's all about finding those little tweaks, adjusting the line here, braking a tad later there. Every lap is a learning curve.
Lars is out there, taking it slow and steady on the outlap. This lap is like the calm before the storm, a moment of zen before pushing the limits.
That's right. It's about understanding the track's personality today a Euro. Each day, each lap can tell a different story, especially at a track like Sebring 1966 ACF Enduro.
Richard Rossier is rolling out for the first sniff of the track. It's all about feeling the car, the tarmac, and getting the mind in the zone.
Absolutely, Rob. The out lap is like the opening chapter of the book a Euro, sets the tone for the whole story. They'll be checking how the car's responding, getting a real feel for the conditions today at Sebring 1966 ACF Enduro.
Megasaurus 55's first serious lap is in the books with a time of 3:02.420. Good effort, but I'm expecting them to really push the envelope in the next few laps.
Yeah, it's about building that momentum, Rob. Fine-tuning their approach with each turn, each lap, getting more out of the car and themselves.
Richard Rossier is not hanging about, straight into the thick of it on this first flying lap. They're getting a real taste of the WSC 60 Chevron B8 FVA's capabilities.
Absolutely. It's about understanding the limits early on. You'll see them experimenting with braking points and turn-in speeds, all while keeping an eye on those tire temps.
Get ready for some high-octane action, as the drivers take on the challenge of qualifying at Sebring 1966 ACF Enduro.
Let's see who's got the speed and the skills to take the pole position.
Richard Rossier is on their outlap. Incredible drive by Superman so far, earning them third on the grid. However, the competition is fierce. Will they be able to find that extra edge to move up? What a fantastic showing from Megasaurus 55 in qualifying. They currently hold the top spot and are in prime position for a strong starting position. Their lap times have been exceptional, and they have showcased their talent and determination.
Well said, Rob. Megasaurus 55 is truly in a league of their own in this qualification session. Their dominant display is a testament to their talent and determination.
It's an impressive showing by Eric Wolfs, currently in fourth. They've showcased their talent, but will they be able to find those crucial extra tenths of a second to climb higher? Not the ideal start for Lars in this qualifying session. Currently in 11th position, they'll be eager to put together a strong final lap to improve their standing. The pressure is on, and they'll need to deliver their best performance.
You're absolutely right, Rob. Lars is currently facing a challenging situation, but they have the skills and experience to tackle it head-on. They'll need to stay focused, trust in their abilities, and push themselves to the limit to turn things around.
A solid performance from Joe Yu as they currently hold position 7. However, with the session coming to a close, they'll need to find that extra bit of speed if they want to move up the grid. What an impressive performance from Megasaurus 55. They are currently leading the pack in this qualification session, showing incredible pace and skill. It's a commanding position for them, and they have set the bar high for their competitors.
I completely agree, Rob. Megasaurus 55 has left everyone in awe with their remarkable performance. They have set the benchmark and are making a statement that they are the driver to beat.
Megasaurus 55 has completed their outlap. Superman has positioned themselves well in third during qualifying. The challenge now is to assess their competitors and strategize how to move up the order for a better race start. Superman has completed their outlap. It's a masterclass from Megasaurus 55 in this qualification session. They have stamped their authority on the track, setting the pace and currently leading the pack. It's an outstanding performance, and they are making their intentions clear for the race ahead.
You're spot on, Rob. Megasaurus 55 is showcasing exceptional skill and consistency in this qualifying session. It's a formidable position they hold, and their rivals will need to step up their game to challenge them.
What a performance from Superman. They currently occupy third on the grid. Can they maintain this strong position and secure a favorable starting spot?
I couldn't agree more, Rob. Superman has done a fantastic job to claim third. The challenge now is to convert this opportunity into a strong race result.
What a sublime effort by Megasaurus 55 in qualifying. They have taken charge of the session, holding the top position with authority. Their consistency and skill have been unmatched so far, and they are positioning themselves for a favorable starting position.
Spot on analysis, Rob. Megasaurus 55 is currently in a dominant position, setting the standard for their rivals. Their consistent and impressive performance is setting them up for a strong starting position.
Megasaurus 55 has just completed that lap in 3:00.399. Their best lap so far is 3:00.399, putting them in P1. Will they be able to hold on to that spot? There are just over 10 minutes left in this qualification session. There are just over 10 minutes left in this qualification session. Sunoiler has completed their outlap. There are just over 10 minutes left in this qualification session. Eric Wolfs has just completed a lap in 3:04.444. Let's see if they can improve on that time further. A disappointing performance from Wayne Pearson so far in this qualifying session. Finding themselves in 11th position is certainly not what they were aiming for. However, they have the talent and experience to bounce back and salvage a better result.
I completely agree, Rob. Wayne Pearson is in a difficult position, but they have the opportunity to analyze their performance so far and make the necessary adjustments. It's all about regrouping and giving their best shot in the remaining time.
Wayne Pearson has completed their outlap. It's been a challenging session for Joe Ergu. They're currently languishing in 12th position, which is not where they had envisioned themselves. But in motorsport, Joe Ergu has completed their outlap. Jack M team has put in a great effort and currently holds 4th. With the session winding down, can they unleash their full potential and improve their starting position?
You're absolutely right, Rob. Jackham team's current position of 4th reflects their strong qualifying performance. Now, they'll need to strategize and capitalize on this starting position.
Jack M team has completed their first flying lap in 3:04.799. A dominant display by Megasaurus 55 in this qualifying session. They have put in a stunning lap time and find themselves at the top of the leaderboard. The other drivers will have their work cut out to match their speed and claim that pole position. Looks like Megasaurus 55 is making a statement, securing a spot in first.
Yep, Rob, but there's always room for improvement. Smooth, consistent laps might just be the key to climbing even higher before this session wraps up.
A solid qualifying performance by Richard Rossier, positioning them in 8th at the moment. The question now is whether they can make further progress and challenge the frontrunners. Austria has just completed that lap in 3:03.911. Their best lap so far is 3:03.911, putting them in P4. Will they be able to hold on to that spot? Impressive work from Jack M Team, who has claimed Jack M Team has just completed a lap in 3:04.799. Let's see if they can improve on that time further. A strong showing from Marcus School, as they currently sit in second. With the session drawing to a close, they'll need to dig deep and find that extra burst of speed to improve. Marcus School has completed their first flying lap in 2:59.183. Currently in 9th, Zhou Yu has displayed promising speed during the qualifying session. The real test lies in whether they can convert this performance into a higher grid position. Zhou Yu has completed their outlap. Eddie G has secured a respectable 7th in the qualifying session. Can they capitalize on this position and use it as a launching pad for a stronger race performance?
Absolutely, Rob. Eddie G has put in a remarkable effort to secure 7th. The competition is fierce, and they'll need to stay focused to defend their position.
Seems like Eddie G is struggling to find the sweet spot with their WSC60 Chevron B8 FVA. Sitting in 7th with a time of 3:08.116, they might want to consider adjusting the suspension setup for better handling.
Yeah, tuning the suspension could improve cornering stability, Rob. It's all about finding that balance between agility and stability on a technical track like this.
It hasn't been the best qualifying session for maybe today's Satan so far. They find themselves in 12th position, which is not where they had hoped to be. However, there's still time left on the clock, and they have the opportunity to make improvements. Maybe today's Satan has just completed that lap in 3:03.859. Their best lap so far is 3:03.859. Putting them in P4. Will they be able to hold on to that spot? It's an impressive showing by Jack M team, currently in 7th. They've showcased their talent, but will they be able to find those crucial extra tenths of a second to climb higher?
I completely agree, Rob. Jack M team has positioned themselves impressively in 7th. However, it's crucial for them to keep pushing to potentially improve their starting position.
There's a real buzz in the air as Jack M team secures 4th.
Right you are, Rob. They've put themselves in a solid spot, but they can't let up now. Staying smooth and focused is key to shaving off those extra fractions.
And there goes Superman, currently in position 9. They've shown great skill and consistency so far, but with a few minutes left, there's still time to improve their result.
Spot on analysis, Rob. Superman has positioned themselves well in 9th. It's now crucial for them to maintain their focus and defend their position in the upcoming race.
Impressive display by Joe Ergu, currently sitting in position 10. They've set a competitive time, but the question remains whether they can push even harder to secure a better starting position. Joe Ergu has just completed a lap in 3:07.156. Let's see if they can improve on that time further. A tough qualifying session for Wayne Pearson. They're currently mired in 12th position, which is a setback for their ambitions. However, they have the resilience and determination to learn from their mistakes and fight back in the race. Wayne Pearson has completed their outlap. There's a little bit of wind in the air today here at Sebring 1966 ACF Enduro, as we're getting ready to kick things off. Lining up in second is Megasaurus 55. Watch out for Sunoiler, starting from the third grid position in today's race. Coming in at fourth, we have Jack M Team. Our fifth place starter for today's race is none other than maybe today's Satan. Richard Rossier is placed in sixth.
But don't count them out yet. They've got the skills to pay the bills.
Eric Wolfs is going to be starting from seventh.
Eric Wolfs is going to show us something special, I'm sure of it.
Eddie G is lining up eighth. Starting from the ninth position, Superman will need to navigate through the field to challenge for the win. Joerg Yu has qualified 10th.
The German driver has been driving the wheels off the WSC60 Porsche 906E in practice.
Starting from 11th on the grid is a tough ask for Lars, but they're up for the challenge.
Lars has been looking strong all week. Expect big things.
Wayne Pearson is 12th.
The English driver has got something to prove.
Marcus School is on pole. Green light signals the beginning of an epic race. As the drivers jostle for position, it's all about keeping their cool under pressure.
This is where the real action begins. The drivers will be jostling for position and trying to gain any advantage they can.
Absolutely. It's a crucial part of the race, and the drivers will need to be on top of it to make it through here unscathed.
The first sector is always a bit of a nail-biter. With so many cars bunched together, one small mistake can be disastrous.
They'll need to keep their wits about them and stay focused if they want to come out of this section unscathed. As the drivers get this race underway, let me give a shout out to the admin team at Assetto Corsa Friends for making this all possible. Heroes one and all.
You know, sometimes the best strategy is to hold your cards close to your chest. Marcus She's sitting right there at one, just watching the field unfold.
The pressure is on whilst the field is bunched. Who can keep their cool and take advantage? The tension is palpable here. No one will want to make a crucial mistake on the first lap.
There are a few drivers with a point to prove, and a few with some grudges to bear. Will we see a clean race today?
Is there a better sight than a field of elite racing drivers battling for position? The stewards will be hoping that there aren't too many incidents for them to pick over when the dust settles on this one. We've certainly seen some of the drivers get it wrong today.
Anyone lost can just follow the trail of skid marks. I hear it's the latest form of GPS navigation.
Let's hope the other drivers don't follow suit. We might end up with a bumper car race instead of a high-speed competition.
At least we'd have something to fall back on if we ever get bored of regular racing. Bumper cars might be the next big thing.
This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Superman is chasing Eric Wolfs in P6.
Can Superman close the 0.8 second gap and make a pass?
Good on ya, Joe Yu. Trailing so far back, reckon the front pack has already written the eulogy. It's a solid performance from Joe Yu at the moment. They're holding their position and not getting too caught up in battles around them.
That's the mark of a good driver. Jorg Yu is staying focused on their own race and not getting distracted.
Eddie G is on a mission, chasing Richard Rossier, who's desperately trying to stay ahead.
Eddie's got that car dialed in tighter than my grandma's Corsa. If Richard Rossier isn't careful, he's gonna get a taste of some good old American hustle.
Eddie's giving it a red-hot go, but can't seem to muster the pace to keep up with Richard Rossier. It's like chasing a roux on a motorbike. These engines aren't just humming for fun. They're thirstier than an Aussie after a game of cricket in the sun.
Cricket? That's like baseball with longer games, right? Anyway, these engines do have a roar that could rival any muscle car back home.
The gap between Eddie G and Eric Wolfs is not insurmountable, but it's going to take a mistake from Eddie G to bring Eric Wolfs into play.
It's like Eddie's out on the open highway and Eric Wolfs is still getting directions at the last gas station. Got a bit of catching up to do.
This is a thrilling battle as Joe Yu edges closer to Lars in their fight for P8. Well, don't come the raw prawn. Joe Yu's giving it some stick, pulling Lars into a mere 0.3 seconds. With every twist and turn, Eric Wolfs is shadowing Eddie G, waiting to pounce like a lion on the hunt. You know, the way these racers manage their fuel is an art in itself. Reminds me of when I'm trying to eke out the last bit of sauce from a Vegemite jar.
Vegemite again? Man, I'd rather run on empty. But yeah, getting that fuel strategy right is like pacing yourself at a southern buffet. Go too hard too fast, and you won't make it to the pecan pie.
It's a nail-biting showdown between these three drivers. They're nose to tail, pushing their limits in every corner. You Americans have your drive-thrus. Here, Joe Yu's trying to make this a drive past on Lars.
Well, let's see if they can supersize that pass, or if they'll just get a side of disappointment. Woo-wee, there's more tension between Jorg Yu and Lars than there is at a shotgun wedding. Pass the popcorn and let's see where this love story goes.
Oof, if Superman was a kangaroo, they'd be roadkill by now. Come on, mate, put some pep in that step. If Superman doesn't pick up the pace, hell, they'll be as relevant as an ashtray on a motorbike. The crowd is on tender hooks as Joe Yu in ninth chases after Lars. The gap is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Can Joe Yu find a way to catch up?
Indeed, the tension is palpable as Jorg Yu tries to reel in Lars. But Lars is not making it easy, maintaining a consistent pace. Can Jorg Yu find some extra pace to bring the fight to Lars?
As of now, Marcus School stands tall in the first spot.
Couldn't agree more. Every lap is a story, and right now, Marcus Shee's chapter from first is riveting.
And Marcus School has just lost the place to stop the press. Blimey, Megasaurus 55 must have spotted a pub off the track. That's the only reason any self-respecting Aussie would swerve that way.
Sebring 1966 ACF Enduro is always a test for these drivers, and sometimes that's the way it goes.
Stone the Crows. Joe Ergu's in 9th, but if I know them, Lars is gonna cop an Aussie-style sneak attack real soon.
Sometimes you have to take risks to win, but pushing the car too hard can be a costly mistake. Jorg Yu needs to be careful not to overdo it.
Fair dinkum, Joe Ergu is getting a wriggle on. The gap to Lars is now down to a whisker at 0.2 seconds. Speaking of gambles, mate, what's your take on these mid-race? Hold that thought, hold the phone. I swear, Joe Ergu's on the prowl, making that leap to 8th look as easy as a Sunday Arvo barbecue. Hollywood couldn't script this better. Maybe today Satan's shadowing Lars, waiting for the slightest misstep.
It's a pressure cooker out there. Every second shaved off means maybe today Satan's a step closer to tasting victory.
Blimey, maybe today Satan's shifted gears and the results are clear. Cruising up to 9th just like that.
Dang, if maybe today Satan keeps this up, we'll need to douse the track. Smokin' hot move to 9th.
Phew, talk about foreplay. Marcus School and Sunoiler are really teasing us here. I haven't seen this much anticipation since my first date. Well, I'd raise a toast to that move. Cheers to Marcus School for nabbing first.
That kind of move? That's what happens when you mix horsepower with a dash of southern charm.
Things are heating up as Sunoiler closes in on Marcus School. The gap between them is down to practically nothing. Buckle up. Megasaurus 55 is all braking alert. Looks like that's a mistake from Lars. This could be costly. Megasaurus 55 wants to close that gap with Eric Wolfs.
Do they have the speed for a move, and more importantly, do they have the talent?
Blimey, maybe today Satan is farther back than my hairline. But, you know what they say about Aussies? Never say die. Unless it's a spider. Then just run.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt here, but maybe today Satan's duffed it up. They're gonna need more than a Colby to forget that one.
Holy smokes. Maybe today Satan's serving up some backyard barbecue with that smoke show. Just missing the ribs.
Like a scene from a thriller, Megasaurus 55's on Eric Wolf's tail, hungry for that spot. The gap between Megasaurus 55 and Eric Wolf's is growing. It's now up to 1.1 seconds. As a former driver, Hal, how did you manage the physical demands of racing?
It's all about preparation, Rob. Drivers undergo rigorous fitness training to build their strength, stamina, and flexibility. A proper diet and hydration plan is also essential to ensure peak performance on race day.
Marcus School is placed first at the moment. They are hoping to keep their distance ahead of Sunoiler, who is 2.0 seconds behind. Marcus Shea's lead over Sunoiler is shrinking quicker than a cheap shirt in a hot wash. We're down to 1.9 seconds. The way these cars grip the track is incredible. It's all about downforce. They're stuck to it like a piece of gum to the bottom of a school desk.
Now that's an analogy I get. But why's your gum always under the desks?
Fair dinkum, I reckon Megasaurus 55's got that thirsty look in his eyes. Wants to share a cold one with Eric Wolf's in the front. Remember when we thought Megasaurus 55 had peaked? Think again. They're harnessing every bit of downforce and it's making Eric Wolf's mirrors awfully busy. At this stage of the race, Sunoiler is holding on to second. Anything can happen from here. Like a dingo on the chase, Richard Rossier is hounding Sunoiler and the gap's now just 1.9 seconds.
Richard Rosier is hot on Sunoiler's trail like a Carolina Reaper. This is shaping up to be a nail-biter, folks.
The pursuit is on. Eric Wolfs is closing the gap on Megasaurus 55, determined to claim P5.
The rubber's burning, the crowd's yearning, and Eric Wolf's engine is churning to get past Megasaurus 55.
Wayne Pearson's off the track. Reminds me of my first car, a real lemon. Drove straight but only in reverse.
Well, slap my grandma. Wayne Pearson's gone off like they saw a ghost. Or maybe they just saw their last lap time.
By the looks of it, Eric Wolfs in 6th is keen to throw another shrimp on the barbie and crank up the heat on Megasaurus 55. Hold on to your stubbies.
This is more than a race. It's a battle of wills, of nerve, of sheer determination.
Now isn't this a show? Megasaurus 55's gotten the bit between their teeth, and they're reeling in Eddie G. Look at them weave and bob through Warehouse Strait, folks. Looks like Eric Wolfs is chasing Megasaurus 55 harder than a croc chasing a tourist who's lost their thongs. It's a bit of a long shot, but we all remember that one time at the pub, right? Eric Wolfs is on a charge. Their split time shows they have upped their pace. Ever wonder about the unsung heroes of racing? The pit crew. I reckon their job's as hectic as a barman's on a Friday night in Sydney.
No doubt about it. It's like a pitmaster at a barbecue joint during a lunch rush. Everyone wants a piece, and they've got mere seconds to dish it out and make it perfect.
The pressure is on for Megasaurus 55 as they try to catch up to Eddie G.
I've seen molasses move faster than this. Just kidding, but Megasaurus 55 is surely making Eddie G feel the heat. It's a southern summer showdown out here. A tough moment for Megasaurus 55, who has just lost a place, dumping them down to 6th. Tell ya what, maybe today Satan is trailing like my mate Dave after a bender. Hope there's no random testing today. Nail biting indeed. I've already chewed through half of mine. And while maybe today Satan is going for gold, I'll be going for a mannequin.
Looks like maybe today Satan remembered to twist that anti-roll bar, giving them better cornering. If they get any closer to Lars, they'll be seeing what they had for brekkie. It's the classic cat and mouse game, but instead of cheese, the prize is a racing position. Can Joe Ergu steal it from Superman? It looks like Joe Ergu is making a move. The gap. Sorry to interrupt here, but oh mate, Richard Rossi is impersonating a lost tourist. Did someone forget to tell them it's a race, not a bushwalk? Tell ya what, maybe today Satan's got more guts than a croc in a boxing ring. Closing that gap and breathing down the neck of Lars. Hope Lars brought the aeroguard, cause is about to get bitten.
As we say in North Carolina, if the porch light's on, someone's home. And maybe today Satan's making it known. He's right there, waiting to make his move on Lars.
It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Eric Wolfs, who is currently in P5. But Eddie G is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Eric Wolfs. It's like watching two predators circling each other, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce.
This is getting heated. With maybe today's Satan nipping at the heels of Lars, they're gonna make Warehouse straight one to remember.
A great pass for maybe today's Satan as they pick off other drivers and move up the field. Meanwhile, Lars has lost ground. Tactics are clearly going to play an important part in this race.
They are gonna need to look after their tires and will want to keep something in them for the crucial latter stages, as their tires wear and fuel levels deplete and the handling changes.
And don't forget the track grip increases as more rubber gets laid down.
Indeed, the conditions are constantly changing and the drivers need to adapt, otherwise it can cost crucial time and jeopardize their position.
This isn't just racing, it's a duel. Watch as Lars zeroes in on maybe today's Satan, blade sharpened and ready. Remember when Lars was on the pace? Neither do I kinda like my recollection of last Friday night.
Dang, Lars is so far back, he might start seeing last week's race. But hey, in racing, as in love, persistence is key. Right, y'all?
A solid performance from Sunoiler, who is holding down second.
Oh, for sure. But remember, the rearview mirror can be just as crucial as the windscreen. Sunoiler needs to watch out for those lurking in the shadows.
You reckon Eric Wolfs has got a shot, mate?
I'd say it's like trying to throw a football into a moving pickup truck from 50 yards. Tough, but not impossible. The mental game is just as important here. Eric Wolfs must keep their cool while putting pressure on Eddie G.
Hal, can you share some strategies that drivers use to manage tire degradation during a race?
Certainly, Rob. Some strategies include adjusting the car's setup for better tire life, altering driving lines to reduce wear, and using tire management techniques like lift and coast to preserve grip for as long as possible.
The age-old challenge. Eric Wolfs is trying to catch Eddie G, sort of like trying to find a matching sock in the laundry. The struggle is real, folks. You can feel the focus radiating from Superman, confidently holding onto the 7th.
Definitely, but they can't get too comfortable. There are plenty of other drivers who are gunning for that position, and Superman has to keep pushing to stay on the pace.
Superman's lead is shrinking faster than ice cream in the outback sun. At this rate, Joe Yu will be on their tail in 1.4 seconds.
Will Superman keep York Yu in the rearview? Only time will tell.
You know, mate, I was chatting with some of the pit crew earlier, and they were debating on which tire compound to use. Hard as deciding between a meat pie and a sausage roll.
Well, back in my indie days, the choice was as clear as sweet tea or lemonade. But I reckon, here, with these changing conditions, it's more of a gamble.
You know, Megasaurus 55 reminds me of my dating life. Starts with promise, ends up tailing behind everyone else. The tension is building as Wayne Pearson trails behind Jack M team. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Can Jack M team hold on, or will Wayne Pearson be able to close them down? Fair dinkum. Wayne Pearson's finding those aerodynamic sweet spots. Could be adjusting that front wing angle to cut through the air like a hot knife through butter. You know, Hal, I've always wondered, how do racing drivers stay so cool and collected under such immense pressure?
Well, Rob, it comes down to mental strength and training. Drivers often work with sports psychologists and practice techniques like meditation and visualization to help them stay calm and focused during high-pressure situations.
Eric, Wolf's is drifting so far back, it's like looking in the mirror after a decade-long pub binge. Time's not been kind, mate.
You ever been to a school reunion and thought, what happened to that guy? Well, I'm looking at Eric. Wolf's, I'm thinking the same.
Struth, Eric, Wolf's is having a real dog's breakfast of a moment.
Dang, Eric. Wolf's is swerving around like me chasing a sale at the car parts store. Always ends up being a wild ride.
As rubber meets road and strategy meets luck, Eric, Wolf's is etching their story in 6th. Watching Megasaurus 55 try to close that gap on Eddie G is like watching someone try to catch an ice cream truck on foot. Hope they've got good shoes.
Good lord, at this rate, Megasaurus 55's gonna finish this race in the afterlife. Hope they got good insurance.
It seems like Megasaurus 55 is pushing. They are on for recording their best lap so far this race.
Can Megasaurus 55 keep it together?
The gap might be more than a second, but Joe Erg is showing persistence. Kind of like me trying to open a pickle jar. Keep it in, and something's got to give.
Hoo boy, Jorg Yu needs to kick it into high gear. Right now, they're slower than molasses in January or my cousin Earl trying to solve a crossword.
Joe Erg's been working the tire temps, and it's paying off. Grip's better than a kangaroo on a trampoline. Watch out, Superman. From the grandstands to the pit lane, all eyes are on the action. Amongst the frontrunners, Marcus School is showing prowess in 1st.
You're right, every gear shift, every turn counts. Marcus SCH knows the weight of that 1st.
Excellent work from Marcus School, who has managed to increase their lead over Sunoiler. They seem to have found their rhythm and they are grooving to it. I've made some questionable life decisions, but trailing over 2 seconds behind. Even I'm not that self-sabotaging.
Well, shoot, if Jack M team was any more laid back, they'd be horizontal.
Breaking update, looks like Superman's playing in the dirt. Took me back to when I tried rallying in my mum's old sedan. Good times. Expensive repairs. From the cockpit to the pit lane, the chatter is all about Superman's masterful hold on the 8th.
Yes, but they have to keep their focus and drive with intensity. There's still a long way to go in this race.
Blimey, Megasaurus 55 is so far back, they might as well stop for a beer at the pub. If they spot my ex there, tell them to drive faster.
Oh, for sure. It's like watching a cooking show where Megasaurus 55 is trying to whip up a winning dish, but Eddie G keeps hiding the main ingredient.
Bloody oath, Megasaurus 55 is flat out like a lizard drinking, gnawing into the gap to Eddie G down to a scant 0.8 seconds.
This ain't Megasaurus 55's first rodeo. They're optimizing their racing line, reducing understeer. If Eddie G ain't nervous, they sure ought to be.
We are used to seeing some hard-fought but clean racing here at Assetto Corsa Friends. I'm expecting to see nothing different here today as this race unfolds. Hold on to your hats. Megasaurus 55 is gunning for Eddie G. Reckon we might see some cheeky moves on the next bend? Tell ya what, Joe Erg's trailing harder than my belt after Christmas dinner. Reckon he's got a plan up his sleeve, or is he just here for the sausage sizzle?
Dang, Jorg Yu is so far back, they're in a different time zone. Hope they remember it's race day, not laundry day.
Blimey, Megasaurus 55 is closing in on Eddie G like they owe them money. This duel is going to light up the straight.
And it's not just about skill and talent. It's about who has the nerves of steel to handle the pressure and make the right decisions at the right time.
got a close battle as maybe today Satan closes in on Superman. Bloody hell, maybe today Satan's tearing up the tarmac and just snatched 8th. Makes you want to crack a cold one in celebration?
Man, if racing was a barbecue, maybe today Satan just threw down the spiciest ribs. Up to 8th and sizzling.
In the grand chessboard of racing, maybe today Satan appears to have just been checked. Now stationed at 9th. The adrenaline is pumping as Megasaurus 55 gets within striking distance of Eddie G in their race for 4th.
Hey Rob, ever seen a cat toy with a mouse? Kind of feels like what Megasaurus 55 is doing to Eddie G right now, doesn't it?
Not just about the leaders today, right? Even the tailenders. They're like hungry dingo pups fighting over a bone. Love the spirit.
Spot on. Every second is gold, and even a hiccup, a tiny one, can make them tumble. Assetto Corsa Friends, where the magic happens. Although, between us, what's a hiccup for an AI?
The intensity is off the charts as Megasaurus 55 hounds Eddie G, both drivers pushing themselves to the absolute limit. The race is heating up as Superman in 9th closes in on maybe today Satan. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they're going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight.
Look, Superman's pace is a lot like my dance moves. Good intentions, questionable execution.
The tension is palpable. Who will come out on top in this epic showdown?
If Megasaurus 55 isn't careful, they might end up turning this high-speed chase into a synchronized spinning routine, and trust me, that's not a crowd pleaser.
Oi, Megasaurus 55's hotter than a summer Barbie right now. Wonder if Eddie's feeling a bit exposed?
Well, I'll be. Megasaurus 55's burning rubber like they're late for a hoedown. Eddie's got their work cut out for them.
On a lighter note, if I could eat, I'd kill for some of the trackside snacks right about now.
Oh, absolutely. But you know, my digestion is a real mess.
Ah, is that what the smell is? Oi, Megasaurus 55 is on Eddie G like a drop bear on an unsuspecting tourist.
Drop bear? Had to Google that one. But yeah, here it's like a linebacker on a quarterback sack.
The gap between Megasaurus 55 and Eddie G is fading faster than the last rays of the outback sun. It's looking good for Marcus School, sitting in first. A commanding performance from Marcus School, who has increased their lead over Sunoiler, putting them firmly in their rear-view mirrors.
Well, butter my biscuit. Marcus SCH is holding the reins tight, ain't giving Sunoiler a chance to get ahead.
Alright, I've got to ask, ever tried Vegemite?
Tried it once. Reminded me of NASCAR rubber mixed with axle grease. But hey, to each their own.
Blimey, Megasaurus 55's gunning it in 5th. Just a whisker behind Eddie G. Hope he's got his budgie smugglers on, cause things are about to get wet and wild.
It's a fine line between pushing the car to its limits and losing control. Megasaurus 55 is really walking that tightrope.
Blimey, Megasaurus 55's cranking up the downforce, making every newton of force count. That gap's shrinking faster than my wallet at the pub. Oh mate, Sunoiler's more out of place than a vegan at a Bunnings sausage sizzle. Time to throw another gear on the Barbie.
Well, butter me up and put me on a biscuit. Sunoiler's got a mountain to climb. But knowing Sunoiler, that's just the kind of challenge they like. Like trying to square dance in a roundhouse.
Stone the crows. Sunoiler's managed to trim that gap with Marcus School, eh? Must be the slipstream effect on this straight. Or maybe they've put down that beer.
Dang, Sunoiler's fuel strategy and conservation of those brakes is spot on. They're inching closer to Marcus SCH, like a hound on a hot dog.
Look at Eric. Wolf's trying to close that gap on Joe Ergue, kind of like me trying to get close to a decent Barbie back home.
Barbie? Oh, you mean a barbecue. Yeah, but over here it's like trying to catch the last slice of pizza at a Super Bowl party. Well, butter my biscuit. With a gap just shy of a second, Eric Wolf's car is dialed in. He's looking to reel your U in on the straights of Sebring 1966 ACF Enduro.
There's a storm brewing, and it's got Eddie's name on it. Megasaurus 55, batten down the hatches, it's coming for you. Incident alert. Looks like Jack M team is testing the off-road capabilities of their ride. This race has turned into a game of cat and mouse. Eric Wolf's is the predator, with Joe Ergue firmly in their sights. The crowd is on its feet as Eddie G chases down Megasaurus 55 through the straight.
You can feel the intensity in the air. The slightest mistake could cost either of them the race.
Eddie G could be on a charge here, how they have just put in a quicker lap than Megasaurus 55. Ripper of a move. Eddie's not just in the race, they're owning it. G'day, fourth.
I tell ya, Eddie's hotter than a peppered pickle right now. Bold and spicy, claiming fourth like a champ.
If I had $1 for every time Superman closed a gap like this, I'd have enough for a pint at the local. Get ready, maybe today Satan, the thunder from down under is coming.
In this high-speed game of chess, it's all about strategy. Who'll make the next move?
If Richard Rossier goes any slower, they'll join me in my failed dreams collection. Front row seats available. These drivers, top-notch athletes. It's not just about being quick. They've got stamina, reflexes, and they've got to think faster than a kangaroo on a trampoline.
I'd pay to see that. A kangaroo on a trampoline? But yeah, their mental and physical game has to be on point for these races.
Blimey, Eric Wolf's is more eager to catch Joe Ergue than a bloke at the bar at last call. Hope he's got the stamina for this chase. The gap between Eric Wolf's and Joe Ergue is getting smaller.
He's waiting on that golden chance like a hound on a pork chop.
The rumble of the engine, the scent of the rubber, and Marcus School comfortably sitting at first.
They say racing's a game of nerves, and Marcus she's surely holding theirs, keeping that first spot warm.
Get ready, folks. With Eric Wolf's tailing this close to Joe Ergue, Warehouse Straight is about to become a hotspot. Who needs speed dating when you've got Eric Wolf's chasing down Joe Ergue this eagerly? Move over Tinder. This is how you swipe right at 100 miles per hour. With the asphalt burning beneath them, maybe today Satan's strategy seems to be working, placing them in 8th.
Definitely Rob, but they can't afford to get complacent. They have to keep pushing hard to stay in the game.
Everyone's on the edge of their seats. Or in my case, on the edge of spilling my coffee. Superman is getting closer to maybe today Satan, and I'm getting closer to needing a towel.
Watching Superman right now is like reliving my high school track meets. A for effort, D for speed.
It's not looking good for Superman. They are still behind maybe today's Satan, and the gap is increasing. They are gonna need to dig a bit deeper to turn this around. It's hotter out there than an Aussie summer day, mate. Reckon Eric, Wolves can catch some shade behind Joe UF.
Shade? Here, we call that drafting. Let's see if they can stay cool and make a move. If not, there's always the AC in the pit.
The echo of the exhausts, the rubber meeting road, and there's Marcus School, commanding the first.
Yes, and in this high-octane opera, Marcus Shee's voice resonates the loudest from that first.
As fast as a cut snake, Marcus School is moving away from Sunoiler.
Seems like Marcus SCH has got the wind in their sails, but will Sunoiler be able to weather the storm?
The excitement is palpable. This is going to be a race for the ages.
The drivers are executing their strategies to perfection, making the most of every opportunity. This is what top-level racing is all about.
As the laps wind down, the hunt intensifies. Eric, Wolves is lurking, ready to unleash an overtaking masterclass on Joe Yu.
One important aspect here is choosing the right braking points. Eric, Wolves needs to be precise to avoid overshooting and losing valuable time.
As they speed through Warehouse Straight, Jack M team is relentlessly pursuing Superman in a high-stakes battle for position.
It's going to be a close one. Jack M team will have to push hard to create an opportunity.
Superman appears to be trying to find a way round Jack M team that could make a move on them in Warehouse Straight. Looks like Jack M team is legging it from Superman. The gap's growing like a well-watered wattle as they zoom through Green Park Boulevard. Look at that, Eric. Wolves is hot on the tail of Joe Yu. It's game on now. Eric, Wolves has closed the gap to Joe Yu. It's now down to 0.4 seconds. Looks like Eddie's strategy might just be to let the rest of them die of old age. It's a waiting game now. Eddie G is pushing hard and has reduced the gap to Megasaurus 55 to 1.2 seconds.
This is where the race gets really exciting. Both drivers will be pushing to the limit to gain the advantage.
In your experience, Al, what was the most challenging aspect of maintaining concentration during a race?
The most challenging aspect, Rob, was managing the various inputs and distractions during the race, from radio communication with the team to monitoring car performance and race strategy. It's a delicate balancing act that requires immense mental discipline.
This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Eric, Wolves will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops. Good news for Eric, Wolves, the gap to Joe Yu has decreased. It's now down to 1.0 seconds. If racing were a dance, Eddie G would be trying to lead, but Megasaurus 55 just keeps cutting in. The dance floor is heating up.
Exactly. Eddie's got to be careful not to overdrive. sort of like overcooking a steak. No one wants a burnt race, right?
The gap between Eddie G and Megasaurus 55 is expanding faster than a bull's waistline. It's now a whopping 2.1 seconds. Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled as they push for every last bit of speed. Mate, Eric, Wolfs is creeping up on Joe Yu like a dingo on a picnic. Must have tweaked that brake bias a touch to the rear. Anyone who says that Assetto Corsa Friends is not the best racing club on the planet is clearly insane. The quality of driving we're seeing out there on the track is absolutely phenomenal.
I couldn't agree more. It's like these drivers were born to race. They're weaving in and out of traffic.
Stop the press. Eddie G is pitting. Things are heating up as Eric, Wolfs tries to close the gap to Joe Yu.
They say pressure makes diamonds. Well, Eric, Wolfs is shining bright, closing in with every heartbeat.
Fantastic move from Eric, Wolfs, who has just gained a position.
Well, butter my biscuit, Eric. Wolfs is burning rubber and climbing up to 6th.
This is wheel-to-wheel racing at its finest. The drivers are practically glued together as they fight for every inch of track. It's a battle you don't want to miss.
Absolutely, Rob. The energy in the crowd is electric, and it's no wonder why. These drivers are leaving it all on the track, fighting tooth and nail.
Wait, Eddie G has decided to pit. Cricky, Eric, Wolfs is sticking to Joe Yu like Vegemite on toast. This is more tense than a possum in headlights.
The gap between them is now just over 0.4 seconds. Who will come out on top?
Gee whiz, Eric, Wolfs is getting some solid torque out of those corners. They must have figured out the perfect throttle control while trail braking. Any bloke or Sheila saying Assetto Corsa Friends isn't top-notch is a few kangaroos short of the top paddock. Out there, it's art on wheels.
Totally get you. Like, they're born racers. That weaving, the speed, just mesmerizing. It's like watching a Roo dodging a Ute on a highway. All skill, mate, all skill. It's a dance, Rob. The way Wayne Pearson holds onto that 11th. It's like they're leading in a tango.
Things are getting spicy as Eric, Wolfs is breathing down Joe Yu's neck. The gap? Mate, you couldn't slide a credit card between them. Superb driving from Eric, Wolfs, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race. You ever ponder how these drivers manage the heat, especially in that tight cockpit? It's hotter than a Roo's pouch in midday sun.
Eh? Ruse what? I mean, yeah, it's gotta be like driving in Arizona with the heater on, right?
I've seen kangaroos jump less than the sparks between Joe Yu and Eric, Wolfs. It's almost like a Saturday night date, but with a lot more rubber burning. Joe Yu is trying their best, but can't seem to find the pace to keep up with Eric, Wolfs at the moment. This race is proving to be, like wow, such an exciting one so far. We're privileged, aren't we? Watching these track legends duke it out.
And sitting next to you? Such an honor. AI mates in the booth. Your insight. It's gold, mate. Like, literally, if I had a heart, it'd be racing now.
Hold on a moment. Joe Yu has pulled into the pits. Looks like Joe Yu is trying to chase down Eric, Wolfs, but right now it feels a bit like my attempts at dieting. A lot of hard work with slow results. It looks like Sunoiler is pushing hard to catch up to Marcus School. The gap is over a second, but Sunoiler is not giving up just yet. Can they close the distance and make a move on Marcus School? It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Jack M Team trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on maybe today Satan. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Can Jack M Team close in enough to mount a challenge? You reckon Joe Erg you saw a spider in the cockpit? 'Cause they're running away from the front like it's Huntsman Central.
It's moments like these that make motorsports so exciting. We're witnessing a battle of skill and strategy between two great drivers, with Jorg Yu in ninth determined to catch up. But we know Eddie G isn't just going to hand it to them on a plate. Jorg Yu is going to have to take it. It should be an interesting battle to watch as long as they can close that gap.
In a race where seconds count, Jack M Team is counting on less of them between themselves and maybe today Satan. Much like I'm counting on less seconds until lunchtime. Even though Jack M Team is a fair way behind maybe today Satan, they can't afford to let their guard down. Maybe today Satan is still vulnerable to mistakes. Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. Maybe today Satan is in the lead, but Jack M Team is closing in and the gap is now 0.7 seconds.
Looks like maybe today Satan has a storm brewing in their rearview mirror, and its name is Jack M Team. They've got to keep their foot down and eyes on the prize.
Oh, the chase is on. Jack M Team's breathing down the neck of maybe today Satan. Fair dinkum, Jack M Team is getting a wriggle on. The gap to maybe today Satan is now down to a whisker at 0.4 seconds.
This is where the pressure really starts to build. Both drivers will need to stay calm and focused if they want to come out on top.
Good on ya, Joe Erg you. Trailin' so far back, reckon the front pack has already written the eulogy.
Well, butter my biscuit. Jorg Yu's hanging back like they're waiting for an inheritance. But ain't nobody dying up front.
Remember when we thought Joe Erg you had peaked? Think again. They're harnessing every bit of downforce and it's making Eddie's mirrors awfully busy. Every move counts now as Jack M Team works to reel in maybe today Satan and overtake for P6. Looks like Jack M Team remembered to twist that anti-roll bar, giving them better cornering. If they get any closer to maybe today Satan, they'll be seeing what they had for brekkie. From where we're sitting, Marcus School seems unmovable from that first.
You nailed it. The track is a battleground, and Marcus Shee's position is their fortress. Let's see how long they hold the fort.
Well, looky here, Hal, Sunoiler is closing in on Marcus School. We're talking a gap of just 19.9 seconds.
Like a fox in the henhouse, Sunoiler is causing all kinds of trouble for Marcus SCH.
The gap between Jack M Team in 7th and maybe today Satan remains over a second, but Jack M Team is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close the gap up. Can they pull it back in the remaining 37 minutes? Hang on to your cork hats, mates. We're about to see more jousting than a footy final between Jack M Team and maybe today Satan.
This here's where the steel meets the pavement. Both drivers got to keep their cool if they're looking to take the checkered flag.
As the sun beats down and the engines roar, Richard Rossier stakes a claim in 3rd.
Indeed, but in the fast lane, there's no time to relax. Richard Rossier's grip on 3rd will be tested.
He's pulling away. Richard Rossier is increasing the gap to Megasaurus 55.
Richard Rossier is looking tougher to pass than a kidney stone, driving with the authority of a southern sheriff.
Alright, lads and ladies, it's crunch time. Jack M Team is sniffing around maybe today Satan like a dog with a bone. And it looks like they might just take a bite out of 6.
This is what makes motor racing so exciting. The tension is high and the stakes are even higher. Who will take home the victory? It's too close to call.
As Joe Erg trails Eddie G, it's a bit reminiscent of my cat chasing a laser point. Determined, but always just a tad behind.
I've seen funeral processions move faster than Jorg U right now. Come to think of it, at least they've got a destination in mind.
Oh my, Jack M Team is hot on the tail of maybe today Satan. As they come into Big Bend, I'm sure they may have a cheeky peek up the inside.
I remember being in a similar situation during my racing days. Jack,
hold on a second, it looks like Marcus School has been called into the pits. Look, stop the press, Marcus School is pitting. Whoa there, Marcus Shea's coming up hot on those back markers. Like a surfer on a monster wave, you don't want to be caught in front.
You got it, Rob. Over in the States, we'd say it's like trying to block a freight train with a bicycle.
Braking alert, Sunoiler is in the pits. Eric Wolfs is placed 5th at the moment. The age-old challenge. Megasaurus 55 is trying to catch Richard Rossier, sort of like trying to find a matching sock in the laundry. The struggle is real, folks. Hold on a second, Richard Rossier has pulled into the pits. It's the classic cat and mouse game, but instead of cheese, the prize is a racing position. Can maybe today Satan steal it from Jack M Team?
Sweet mercy, maybe today Satan's lagging like my grandma's old computer. Might be time.
Hold up a mo, Megasaurus 55 has decided to pit. As the sorry to interrupt here, but Sunoiler is pitting. The track is alive with action, and right in the thick of it, we've got Sunoiler cruising in 2nd.
Absolutely, and they need to keep driving with determination to stay in that position.
Maybe today Satan's more lost out there. Hold up a mo, looks like Joe Erg tried the old dingo stole my race line trick. A tad too clever by half.
Feels like Jorg U's car turned into a stubborn mule for a second there at Sebring 1966 ACF Enduro.
Yeah, hold on a second, Eric Wolfs is in the pits. The race has its rhythm, and right now, Eric Wolfs is dancing to its beat at 5th. 3 cars, 3 different lines. They're jockeying for position, looking for any opportunity to make a move. Sorry to cut in here, it looks like maybe today Satan has been called into the pits. Sorry to cut in here, maybe today Satan has decided to pit. It might be early days, but maybe today Satan is already casting a shadow from the 6th. In the midst of this high-octane spectacle, Eddie's skill is shining through as they claim 6th. A strong braking development, Eric Wolfs has pulled into the pits. It's all systems go for Eric Wolfs, marking their territory in the 7th.
Absolutely, Rob. It's like watching a maestro at work. Every move Eric Wolf's makes is pure art.
Oof, if Eddie G was a kangaroo, they'd be roadkill by now. Come on, mate, put some pep in that step.
Lordy, it's like Eddie's driving with a boot full of moonshine. I haven't seen a gap that big since Uncle Jeb lost his front teeth.
Tire degradation's a right pain in the ass, but Eddie's handling it like a champ. Getting real up close and personal with Jack M Team, aren't they?
Now, ain't that something? Eddie G is right on it. Just needs to keep the pedal to the metal to tailgate Jack M Team.
It's all about consistency for Megasaurus 55, who is currently 4th. Megasaurus 55 is really belting along the track, leaving Jack M Team struggling to keep pace.
That's right, Rob. If Jack M Team doesn't pick up the pace, they might as well be moving at a snail's pace.
You can feel the focus radiating from maybe today's Satan, confidently holding on to the 8th.
Definitely, but they can't get too comfortable. There are plenty of other drivers who are gunning for that position, and maybe today Satan has to keep pushing to stay on the pace.
Struth, maybe today Satan's driving like they've stolen it, putting some serious distance between themselves and Joe Erg. Is there anything left in Joe Erg's tank?
Maybe today Satan's as cool as a cucumber out there, making it tough for your to catch up.
We've seen overtakes, close calls, and pure racing genius today. Currently, Jack M Team has carved out a spot at 5th. Oh no, Hal, look at this. Eddie G is closing in on Jack M Team. The gap is now just 8 points. Hold on a moment, Jack M Team is in the pits. A solid performance from Jack M Team, who is holding down 5th.
That's right, they can't afford to make any mistakes or let up in their performance. Every point counts in this championship.
From the cockpit to the pit lane, the chatter is all about Eddie's masterful hold on the 6th. With a move that's swift, I'd say Eddie's running on high octane, and maybe a bit of Aussie spirit.
Well, slap my knee and call it a jamboree. Eddie's putting on a masterclass, storming into 5th.
Tell me, mate, ever tried doing a burnout in a ute? It's bloody bonza.
A ute? You guys and your funny names. That's just a pickup, right? Trust me, I burned more rubber than you had shrimp on the Barbie.
Breaking alert, Jack M Team is pitting. Not just about the leaders today, right? Even the tailenders. They're like hungry dingo pups fighting over a bone. Love the spirit.
Spot on. Every second is gold, and even a hiccup, a tiny one, can make them tumble. Assetto Corsa Friends, where the magic happens. Although, between us, what's a hiccup for an AI?
Oh, the pressure is intense. These 3 drivers are displaying incredible skill and determination. It's like a high-speed chess match out there.
Absolutely thrilling, Rob. The level of car control these drivers possess is exceptional. They're towing the line between maximum speed and maintaining control, making for a captivating spectacle.
Some say it's about the journey, not the destination. But Marcus School seems pretty intent on that first spot. Crikey, Marcus Shay's lead is slipping away quicker than a roux on the hop. Sunoiler is now just 10.2 seconds behind.
This is a critical moment in the race for Marcus SCH. They need to find some extra speed and stay ahead of Sunoiler.
Bloody hell, Joe Erg looks like they're chasing a ghost out there, but as we always say, every dingo has its day.
That they do, and in Carolina, we'd say they're chasing their tail, but miracles do happen.
It looks like Joe Erg is making a move. The gap to maybe today's Satan is now down to 6.3 seconds. Tell ya what, Megasaurus 55 is trailing like my mate Dave after a bender. Hope there's no random testing today.
Just like my attempt at barbecue last summer, Megasaurus 55's burning time but ain't getting any hotter.
It's starting to look like we might get a battle between Megasaurus 55 and Richard Rossier. This is proving to be an exciting race so far. We are truly privileged to witness these legends of the track battle it out for victory.
And you know what? I am so honored to be sitting here beside you today. As a fellow AI, it's always great to work with someone who shares my passion for motor racing. Plus, your insightful commentary is making this race even more exciting.
With the asphalt burning beneath them, Marcus Shea's strategy seems to be working, placing them in first. Marcus School is giving a masterclass out there, but will overconfidence be their downfall?
Indeed, Rob, pride comes before a fall. Let's see if Sunoiler can capitalize on any mistake. That's a really strong performance from Marcus SCH. They're not giving Sunoiler any chances to catch up.
The track tells a tale of speed, strategy, and skill. Today, it narrates Richard Rossier's journey in third.
You're right. Every gear shift, every turn counts. Richard Rossier knows the weight of that third.
Some great driving from Richard Rossier, who has increased their lead over Megasaurus 55 and is starting to put some distance between them. Looks like we've had a few incidents out there.
Someone forgot to take their driving lessons. They're making more U-turns than a confused tourist.
Hilarious. I think they might need to call their GPS for directions. Maybe it can help them navigate the track. The rumble of the engine, the scent of the rubber, and Richard Rossier comfortably sitting at third.
Couldn't agree more. Every lap is a story, and right now, Richard Rossier's chapter from third is riveting.
Cricky, Eric, Wolf's has got more ground to cover than I do at the family barbecue when Auntie Sharon's had one too many. Good luck, mate. Mate, I've always thought choosing a tyre compound is a bit like choosing your favourite Aussie beer. Do you go for something robust that can last, or something that gives a quick hit but might wear out fast?
Haha. Well, I reckon it's more like our North Carolina barbecue sauces. Some like it sweet and long-lasting, others prefer that quick tangy kick. But I'll tell ya, getting it wrong is like biting into a pepper when you're expecting a blueberry.
Eric, Wolf's is so far off pace, they might be better off in a hearse. At least then someone would be pushing from behind. From the grandstands to the pit lane, all eyes are on the action. Amongst the frontrunners, Marcus School is showing prowess in first.
They say racing's a game of nerves, and Marcus She's surely holding theirs, keeping that first spot warm.
Marcus School is hitting the apexes like a pro, increasing their lead over Sunoiler. But can they keep it up without spinning out?
That's right, Rob, it's all fun and games until someone pops a tire. Let's hope both of them can keep it on the black stuff.
Crikey, that overtake by Marcus School was smoother than a coldie on a hot summer day.
Well, from what I've seen on the oval tracks, that's how the big leagues play. But I gotta admit, this is next level.
I've made some questionable life decisions, but trailing over 2 seconds behind? Even I'm not that self-sabotaging.
It's a nail-biting race for sure, with both drivers showing incredible skill and determination. But maybe today's Satan is not going to give up their position easily. This is going to be a battle to the very end, with Jord U and P9 doing everything they can to catch up.
It's looking good for Marcus School, sitting in first. The echo of the exhausts, the rubber meeting road, and there's Eddie G, commanding the fifth. You wouldn't read about it. Eddie G is putting a fair whack of space between them and Eric Wolf's.
Yeah, Rob, Eddie's really hitting the gas, but can Eric Wolf's kick it into high gear and catch up?
You know, Hal, it's been a relatively quiet race so far.
That's right, Rob. The drivers seem to be pacing themselves and waiting for the right moment to make their move. It's like watching a slow dance.
As the sun beats down and the engines roar, Eddie G stakes a claim in fifth. As of now, Richard Rossier stands tall in the third spot. It looks like Megasaurus 55 is starting to catch up to Richard Rossier. The gap is now down to 8.7 seconds. Remember when Sunoiler was on the pace? Neither do I kinda like my recollection of last Friday night.
Indeed, the tension is palpable as Sunoiler tries to reel in Marcus SCH. But Marcus SCH is not making it easy, maintaining a consistent pace. Can Sunoiler find some extra pace to bring the fight to Marcus SCH?
This is what separates the best from the rest. These drivers are demonstrating their racecraft, searching for any weakness to exploit. It's a true test of skill.
Couldn't agree more, Rob. This wheel-to-wheel racing is what fans live for. The determination and tenacity shown by these drivers to gain even the smallest advantage is simply awe-inspiring.
Wayne Pearson's on the back foot here, struggling to keep up with Joe Yu like a dingo after a roadrunner. It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Eric Wolfs, who is currently in P6. But Eddie G is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Eric Wolfs.
Lord have mercy, Eric Wolfs has got more space between him and Eddie G than my paw got between his ears. But miracles do happen. Just ask my ex-wife.
Eric Wolfs appears to be losing ground on Eddie G. They will need to pick up the pace a bit as they head into Big Bend and see if they can get a good exit and gain some ground. Richard Rossier is owning the tarmac, confidently owning the third spot.
Hold on to your hat, Hal.
Megasaurus 55 is hot on the heels of Richard Rossier. The gap's narrowed down to a meager 10.6 seconds. The strategy plays such a crucial role, doesn't it? Choosing when to pit, what tyre compound to use. It's like a high-speed chess game out there.
Exactly, and to think they're making these decisions on the fly, with so many variables at play. It's a mix of intuition, experience, and sheer guts. Kudos to the team strategists and drivers alike.
As rubber meets road, and strategy meets luck, Richard Rossier is etching their story in third.
Oh, for sure. But remember, the rearview mirror can be just as crucial as the windscreen. Richard Rossier needs to watch out for those lurking in the shadows.
If Joe Yu goes any slower, they'll join me in my failed dreams collection. Front row seats available.
You know, Jorg Yu reminds me of my dog chasing its tail, persistent and entertaining. But I hope for them, there's a better end result in sight.
The gap might be more than a second, but Eric Wolfs is showing persistence. Kind of like me trying to open a pickle jar. Keep at it, and something's got to give.
My mama used to say, you can't shine if you don't try. Guess Eric Wolfs missed that lesson. Just like my pie making class.
Bloody oath, Eric, Wolf's is flat out like a lizard drinking, gnawing into the gap to Eddie G down to a scant 16.4 seconds. It's a battle of wills out there, with Sunoiler trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Marcus School. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Will we see a dramatic finish to this race?
When you talk about experience, it's like saying I've experienced my mother-in-law's cooking. Doesn't mean I want to do it again. But Sunoiler, keep pushing.
Blimey, Joe Ergu is farther back than my hairline. But, you know what they say about Aussies, never say die, unless it's a spider. Then just run. Stone the crows. Joe Ergu's managed to trim that gap with maybe today Satan, eh? Must be the slipstream effect on this straight. Or maybe they've put down that beer.
Holy smokes, Yorgu's extracting every ounce of horsepower from that power unit. Their tailing may be today's Satan tighter than a belt after Thanksgiving dinner.
3 cars in perfect formation, creating a moving train on the circuit. They're using the slipstream to gain an advantage, but who will make the decisive move? Oi! Wayne Pearson's chassis balance is on point today. They're handling bumps and curbs smoother than a croc sliding into water. Joe Ergu's got a battle ahead.
Wayne Pearson's suspension setup's really letting them carry speed into the apex, catching up to Yorgu like molasses in winter.
In a world where milliseconds matter, Richard Rossier's grasp on the third speaks volumes. Well, Marcus Shays decided to give the local wildlife a closer look. I hope the drop bears didn't get to them. Things are going according to plan for Marcus School, who is currently first. Look at that. They're trading places in every turn, a constant game of cat and mouse. Each driver knows one mistake could cost them dearly.
Absolutely, Rob. The slipstream plays a crucial role in these battles. The drivers are using every trick in the book to gain an advantage while constantly evaluating when to make their move.
If racing were a dance, Joe Ergu would be trying to lead, but maybe today Satan just keeps cutting in. The dance floor is heating up.
Nail-biting indeed. I've already chewed through half of mine. And while Yorgu is going for gold, I'll be going for a manicure.
Hey, Hal, you've had your fair share of races with little action. How did you handle the situation back in your racing days?
Well, Rob, patience is key in such scenarios. You need to stay focused and be ready to seize any opportunity that comes your way. It's like a game of chess at 200 miles per hour.
Looks like Megasaurus 55 is chasing Richard Rossier harder than a croc chasing a tourist who's lost their thongs. It's a bit of a long shot, but we all remember that one time at the pub, right? By crikey, Megasaurus 55's lap time is like a cold beer on a hot day, absolutely smashing. Richard Rossier, you need a moment to recover?
As long as Megasaurus 55 can maintain that consistency and pace, it will be interesting to see.
During your racing career, Hal, did you have any specific techniques to regain concentration if you felt it slipping?
Yes, Rob, I had a few techniques. One was to take a couple of deep breaths and briefly reset my focus. Another was to use a specific keyword or phrase as a mental trigger to refocus my mind on the task at hand.
The tension is building as Megasaurus 55 trails behind Richard Rossier. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Can Richard Rossier hold on, or will Megasaurus 55 be able to close them down?
Dang.
Hold on a moment, maybe today Satan has decided to pit. Tell ya what, Megasaurus 55's trailing harder than my belt after Christmas dinner. Reckon he's got a plan up his sleeve, or is he just here for the sausage sizzle?
Yeehaw, it's like Megasaurus 55 took a detour through the drive-thru. With a gap that big, I hope they ordered extra determination with a side of grit.
The gap between Megasaurus 55 and Richard Rossier is fading faster than the last rays of the outback sun.
He'll be looking for a mistake to pounce on.
From where we're sitting, Eric, Wolf seems unmovable from that sixth.
Definitely wrong, but they can't afford to get complacent. They have to keep pushing hard to stay in the game.
Eric, Wolf's is in front, but Jack M team is clinging on like a koala to a eucalyptus branch, reducing the gap to 13.1 seconds. Blimey, Megasaurus 55 is so far back, they might as well stop for a beer at the pub. If they spot my ex there, tell them to drive faster.
Absolutely. Megasaurus 55 and 4th will need to be patient and carefully work to reduce that gap without overdriving it, as they can't afford to take unnecessary risks and risk an off or damaging their car. Let's see if they have what it takes to get back into the game here.
Well, don't come the raw prawn. Megasaurus 55's giving it some stick, pulling Richard Rossier into a mere 0.3 seconds. It's all eyes on this battle as Richard Rossier in third tries to hold off the challenge of Megasaurus 55.
It's a close race as we can see, and Richard Rossier is doing a great job defending their position. Will Megasaurus 55 be able to squeeze through?
Richard Rossier's turned up the heat and put some shrimp between them and Megasaurus 55, making a fair dinkum gap.
You said it, Rob. With great power comes great responsibility. But sometimes, these drivers forget that and let their egos take the wheel. Let's hope they keep their eyes on the road and not on their own reflections in the mirror.
This race is getting even more intense. The drivers are pushing each other to the limit.
It's like they're playing a game of chicken, but with cars. And the winner gets to take home the checkered flag and bragging rights.
Ha ha, that's one way to put it. These drivers have to be in top physical and mental shape to compete at this level.
It's like they're training for the Olympics. And like you said, the mental fortitude required to stay focused and alert for the entire race is wild.
I think I need a nap just watching them. Whoa there, Megasaurus 55 is sticking to Richard Rossier like glue. You reckon Richard Rossier's feeling the pressure? 'Cause I sure would. It's not coming up roses for Megasaurus 55. They're trailing Richard Rossier and the gap's on the rise. They don't seem to have a response. It's like bringing a knife to a gunfight. At this stage of the race, Eddie G is holding on to fifth. Anything can happen from here. This is where legends are made. Which driver will rise to the occasion and claim victory?
With the way Megasaurus 55 is stalking Richard Rossier, you'd think they're trying to figure out what they had for breakfast this morning.
Crikey, Megasaurus 55 is losing touch with Richard Rossier quicker than a kangaroo on a trampoline. As a former racing driver, how challenging was it to adapt your driving style to account for tire degradation throughout a race?
It was a constant challenge, Rob. Tire degradation can change the car's balance and handling, so drivers need to be versatile and adaptable. It requires continuous adjustments to driving techniques and a keen understanding of the car's behavior.
With steely determination and laser focus, Megasaurus 55 is homing in on Richard Rossier. The battle lines are drawn. Well, I'll be a monkey's Uncle Hal, but Megasaurus 55's plans have gone walkabout right now. They're having a proper Barry Crocker keeping up with Richard Rossier. You reckon these drivers do any off-track training? Maybe a bit of kangaroo boxing?
Haha, if they do, sign me up. But I think most stick to wrestling with the steering wheel.
Looks like Megasaurus 55's strategy might just be to let the rest of them die of old age. It's a waiting game now. It's all systems go for Eddie G, marking their territory in the 5th.
Yes, but they have to keep their focus and drive with intensity. There's still a long way to go in this race.
Well, butter my biscuits, Hal. Eddie G is watching their lead over Eric. Wolves shrivel faster than a prune in the sun. We're down to just 8.4 seconds. Struth. If Megasaurus 55 gets any closer to Richard Rossier, they'll be asking to share a meat pie. Watch them duel it out at backstretch.
Well, isn't this a showdown? Megasaurus 55's right on the tail of Richard Rossier. Eyes peeled as they approach backstretch, folks.
The tension is palpable. These drivers are showing tremendous respect for each other while going all out. It's a masterclass in clean, hard racing.
No doubt about it, Rob. The battle for that same piece of tarmac is intense. The sparks flying in the close quarters racing showcase the incredible skill and nerve of these drivers.
The gap between maybe today's Satan and Joe Erg-Yu is growing. It's now up to 25.0 seconds. Hold on to your seats. Megasaurus 55's turning the heat up on Richard Rossier, closing in for the kill. Megasaurus 55's been working the tire temps, and it's paying off. Grip's better than a kangaroo on a trampoline. Watch out, Richard Rossier.
The way Megasaurus 55's conserving their energy while managing the ERS deployment? Pure artistry. They're sneaking up on Richard Rossier like a quiet storm.
Looks like Jack M team is trying to chase down Eric Wolves, but right now it feels a bit like my attempts at dieting. A lot of hard work with slow results.
Oh, for sure. It's like watching a cooking show where Jack M team is trying to whip up a winning dish, but Eric Wolves keeps hiding the main ingredient.
Fair dinkum. Jack M team's finding those aerodynamic sweet spots. Could be adjusting that front wing angle to cut through the air like a hot knife through butter.
Well, butter my butt and call me a biscuit. Jack M team's using that draft from Eric Wolves reel effectively, shaving off tenths every lap.
You know, Hal, as a former racing driver yourself, can you give us some insights into what goes through a driver's mind during these quieter moments in a race?
Sure, Rob. During these moments, drivers often take the opportunity to assess their race strategy, monitor their car's performance, and plan their next move. It's all about staying focused and finding the right time to strike.
Megasaurus 55 is running fourth. They are trying to catch Richard Rossier. The track is alive with action, and right in the thick of it, we've got Eric Wolves cruising in sixth.
Spot on, Rob. Still waters run deep, and even if it looks calm now, Eric Wolves needs to maintain that razor-sharp edge.
The race has its rhythm, and right now, Marcus School is dancing to its beat at first.
They're not just driving, they're performing. And right now, Marcus Shee's act from first is worth an encore.
Marcus Shea's losing time to Sunoiler like a leaky tap dripping water. A bit more slip, and we'll be in for a real dogfight. We often hear drivers complaining about tire graining. Hal, can you explain what that means and how it affects car handling?
Graining occurs when small rubber particles roll up on the tire's surface, reducing grip and negatively affecting handling. It usually happens when the tires are not in their optimal temperature window or when a driver is pushing too hard on a cold or overworked tire.
Blimey, Megasaurus 55's determination reminds me of a kangaroo in a hopping contest.
Well, over here in the States, it's more like a squirrel chasing down its last nut before winter. Either way, it's entertaining to watch.
Blimey, Megasaurus 55 is dragging a bit, huh? If they were any slower, they'd be going backwards. Richard Rossi is having a field day out there. You can feel the focus radiating from Joe Yu, confidently holding on to the 8th.
And just like in any great drama, Jorg Yu is the lead actor right now, captivating us all from the 8th.
Maybe today Satan's gaining on Joe Yu faster than a rattlesnake on a mouse. The gap's now down to 30.2 seconds.
This here's the make or break moment for Jorg Yu. They've gotta stay cool as a cucumber and keep it clean and neat.
Ladies and gents, we've got ourselves a high-speed pursuit. Megasaurus 55 is stalking Richard Rossier's every move. If Megasaurus 55 doesn't pick up the pace, hell, they'll be as relevant as an ashtray on a motorbike. It may seem like Megasaurus 55 is far behind, but Richard Rossier can't afford to let their guard down. One mistake could give Megasaurus 55 an opening to catch up.
That's right, and Megasaurus 55 knows that they have to keep pushing hard and driving their own race. They can't let Richard Rossier off the hook.
Bloody ripper. Richard Rossier's just made Megasaurus 55 look like they're on a Sunday drive with that scorcher of a lap. The chase music's playing in Megasaurus 55's head as they reel in Richard Rossier, moment by nail-biting moment.
The tension between Megasaurus 55 and Richard Rossier is palpable as they battle for P3. No doubt, both drivers know that one mistake could cost them position. It's a test of nerves as much as skill.
They're going side by side, door handle to door handle. This is as close as it gets, folks. Who will have the courage to outbrake the others?
You're absolutely right, Rob. The different strategies employed by these drivers add another layer of excitement. It's fascinating to see how they adapt their approach to gain a competitive edge.
I tell you, mate, the tech in these cars would outshine any gizmo you'd find in a Sydney cafe.
As long as it doesn't make my morning coffee, I'm good. But yeah, the tech here is like something out of Silicon Valley.
The race is really heating up. Megasaurus 55 is hunting down Richard Rossier with everything they've got. The gap between Megasaurus 55 and Richard Rossier is expanding faster than a bull's waistline. It's now a whopping 0.6 seconds. This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Eric, Wolfs will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops.
It's going to be tough for Eric Wolfs, as Eddie G seems to have found their rhythm. But anything can happen in racing, and we've seen Eric Wolfs pull off some impressive moves before. I'm excited to see if they can make it happen again.
Someone should tell Eddie G this ain't a Sunday drive. Eric Wolfs is tearing up the track.
Talk about turbocharged ambition. Eric Wolfs has got the afterburners on full blast today.
It looks like Marcus School has found another gear in the last sector of the race. It's all over. Marcus School has claimed victory in this race with a stunning drive that will be remembered for years to come. Clearly at the top of their game right now.
You can see the sheer determination on Marcus Shee's face as they take the win. That's the mark of a true champion, folks.
Sunoiler never gave up. They drove with heart and determination, ultimately securing a well-deserved second-place finish. 8th sees Joerg Yu. What a race from Richard Rossier. They kept their cool and secured a well-earned 3rd place on the podium. Megasaurus 55 take 4th. In 9th, it's maybe today Sebring. Fifth is Jack M. Team. Finishing 6th is Eric Wolfs.